This week, more evidence of election fraud has been discovered down in Georgia. Now, down in Georgia, they have video surveillance showing that as Republican poll watchers are leaving the building, you could see that the poll counters are pulling out suitcases or bags or boxes of extra votes to count, while the Republican poll watchers had already left. These poll watchers had resumed counting votes after they had told the poll watchers that it was okay for them to go home. And it was around this time that we found a huge spike in votes for Biden. This happened in Fulton County, Georgia, which is a very heavily populated county. So the outcome of the votes counted for Fulton County could affect who wins the electoral votes in Georgia, with almost a population of 1 million. There were 225,000 votes counted for Biden, while Trump only had 99,000. So this was a very big jump of difference in votes from Trump to Biden to make, because if you take a look at these other counties, they're pretty close. But then if you look at Fulton County, the votes show that it's way more than double. And the probability of that happening is just very, very slim, considering past election data. Now here's a clip showing the poll watchers of the election count leaving, and after they leave, the poll counters pull out some bags from under tables.
So according to the witnesses, the Republican observers, there is a lady who has blonde braids who comes out to announce, we're going to stop counting. Everyone go home. And in fact, we see that. What happens is everyone clears out, including the Republican observers and the press, but 4 people stay behind. Okay, so what you're going to see happen at about 11 o'clock is once everyone is gone, coast is clear, they are going to pull ballots out from underneath a table. 4 people stay behind and continue counting and tabulating well into the night. We're going to roll this back and show it to you. There you go. So now they're going to start pulling these ballots out from under this table. I saw 4 suitcases come out from underneath the table. So what are these ballots doing there separate from all the other ballots? And why are they only counting them whenever the place is cleared out with no witnesses? Is the question. So these machines can process about 3,000 ballots an hour. You have multiple machines there, and they're there for 2 hours. So you do the math. How many ballots went through those machines in those 2 hours when there was no one there to supervise, to be present, consistent with your statutes and rules, to supervise the tabulation? We believe that could easily be, and probably is certainly, beyond the margin of victory in this race.
And continue their count. Now, even though that this clip is out there, fact checkers are saying that this is nothing to worry about, and they're completely brushing it off. And they're only saying that it was a miscommunication. Right after the video was shown for the first time, they were already debunking it, saying it was nothing to worry about, and completely disregarding it, even though it's a lot of it sketchy if you've seen the clip.
My response, not being an expert, is that these very allegations came up right away after the election, almost a month ago, and have been repeatedly discussed by the Secretary of State's office, including everything that we're seeing here.
But is this
and there have been explanations for all of it.
Is this not the first time this video has been shown?
I believe that this is the first time this video has been seen.
And
It is.
And the news media hasn't seen this video, or have not?
They have not.
They have not.
Because I've been in contact with counsel for the State Farm Arena, and
will be today.
Okay, Senator Anderson, you're.
And how is it a miscommunication exactly if you're either told to go home because you're done, or you're told to stay because you're not done? And if they were told to go home because they were done counting votes, and then they continue to count votes, that just doesn't make any sense. Why would they want the poll watchers to go home if they weren't done counting the votes in the first place, unless they had something to hide? Now, these poll counters have been using vote counting machines, which count up to 3,000 votes every hour. Now, if these people had multiple machines and they were there for over 2 hours, you can only imagine how many fake ballots they've counted during that time. Now, these poll watchers claim that what they were doing on video was everyday procedure. And if it was everyday procedure, why'd they tell them to go home in the first place if they weren't done? Now, it's hard to believe the fact checkers when the video shows what it showed. Now, Hillary Clinton did say not to concede under any circumstances.
Joe Biden should not concede under any circumstances, because I think this is going to drag out, and eventually I do believe he will win if we don't give an inch, and if we are as focused and relentless as the other side is.
Even though they're caught red-handed on camera, of course they wouldn't admit. Of course these fact checkers would just brush it off. You also have the governor in Georgia saying it's sketchy. The own governor of the state. But unluckily, it's not up to him, it's up to the state attorney. And he's also saying nothing's going on, which is just straight lying. There are too many cases of these types of fraud to even count. And they're still trying to say that there's no widespread fraud. No. They need to be prosecuted already. There's too much evidence on the table right now. So, if there wasn't anything fishy going on, why'd you send the people to leave in the first place? They need to be prosecuted. It's gotta be done. Too much evidence. The divine principle says that Adam and Eve before the fall were close in heart and innocently open with each other and with God. As it is written, they are not ashamed of their nakedness. Yet after the fall they felt ashamed of their nakedness. They covered their lower parts with fig leaves and hid among the trees of the garden, fearing that God would see them. This shame was an indication of their inner reality, for they had formed a bond of blood ties with Satan by committing sin with their sexual parts. By covering their lower parts and hiding, they expressed their guilty consciences, which made them feel ashamed to come before God. So just like Adam and Eve, these poll counters are acting like them by hiding the bags of votes under the table because they know it's wrong and they wouldn't want the poll watchers to see them do it. So that's why they hid it, just like Adam and Eve hid their parts because they know they did something wrong. They hid the evil which multiplies more evil. When Adam and Eve ate the fruit, they created a bloodline under Satan. Through this fraud, the Democrats are trying to get Biden in office in order to multiply their evil by having America run by an evil leader. So they're trying to hide their crime and hide their sin, which multiplies more and more evil. They want to enslave the world because if everyone's enslaved and stupid, then nobody's gonna punish them for the stupid things they do. It makes them feel more comfortable basking in their sin. Slavery is making them feel comfortable because they never want to get caught and they never want to pay for what they've done. But free people won't let them do that. Free people are trying their best to not let that happen so that America will have its rightful leader for the next 4 years, which will be Donald Trump.